This is Carrie Gleckner with the Meigs Independent Press here with our weekly Meigs Forward. And during this segment, what we do is we focus on positive stories of Meigs County. People that have a positive attitude or trying to move things forward and push us into a better tomorrow.
A better place.
A better place. So today I have Stephen Figiel with me. You may know him better as the mild-mannered morning man on K92. So I wanted to bring you on because you have such a great attitude about the place. You really love Meigs County. And tell us a little bit about your background. Where does Meigs County come into your life?
Well, it came about in a very strange way. I wasn't born here. I was actually born in Detroit, Michigan, which is where I was raised. I went to high school there. I went to college in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And for most of my life, I've lived in urban areas. However, I had an opportunity to live here in the 1980s. After graduating from college, I took my first job in radio at the old WMPO when Jack Kerr used to run the station. And while here, I ended up meeting my future wife and really falling in love with the area, which was completely and totally not by any specific design. I had intended to come here and get the type of experience that I needed to move forward in the profession and then move a little bit further down the road. But I ended up staying 3.5 years, and during that time, I enjoyed life. It suited me in a way that city life never has and never could. I love the simplicity of it. I love the charm of the area. I love the history. Of course, we've got the natural beauty going for us, and of course, I like the people, the spirit of the people, the values they have, and the grit they have. Because you have to be gritty to live in this part of the country, I think. But the people here, for the most part, have that grit, and I've come to admire it and hopefully emulated it.
So talk to us a little bit more about your career. What were you into after that, and how did you end up back here?
Well, I didn't stay in radio. I came to the realization that I was never going to work in a major city, Carrie, which was the dream that I had when I was in college. So I decided that I wanted to do something different that hopefully was also going to offer me the stability that work in the communications industry was not going to be able to afford me. And just on a sheer whim, I applied for work in banking, and I ended up working as a commercial banker for 25 years at banks both large and small. Had a very successful run of it, but began to feel as I entered my 50s and certainly my mid-50s that it was just the wear and tear was getting to me. I decided that I had to make a hard decision, either to stay in the industry and, I know it sounds melodramatic, have a heart attack, which I swear I was heading to because of all of the stress in the industry. Of course, I worked in the industry during the financial services meltdown and all of that. But the industry changed and the nature of the business changed, and I was successful doing what the new model was, but I wasn't happy doing it. Fortunately, the success I had as a banker gave me some choices, which allowed me to come back here. I'd been coming back here on vacations ever since I left, and I lived here for about 3.5 years in the 1980s, but came back every year to visit my in-laws because I loved them so much, but also because I love being here. And my wife is from here, and it was always a joy to come here during fair season for the holidays. And I was fortunate a few years back to find some property with the intention of building a house on it someday, but that someday came sooner as opposed to later.
And so you looked at Meigs County as home.
I did. I knew I was going to end up back here. It was just a matter of time. I had always intended to do the reverse of what most people do, live up north and retire in the south. I decided I wanted to retire in the Midwest, which is where my roots are. I'm a Midwestern boy through and through. As I said, I grew up in Detroit. love the Midwest, and love this area a whole lot, and decided that this is where I wanted to spend the last part of my life, which will hopefully be a long part.